So guys, in today's video, we are going to talk about the Jamaican government, that is now the Ministry of Health, who are like, Jamaican nurses abroad, we really want you back home. We need your services. And then on the other side, we have the Jamaican nurses abroad saying, we dearly love Jamaica so much, but unfortunately, love doesn't pay bills. So I want us to listen to these videos from Jamaican themselves, and then I'll come back with more analysis.
So apparently the Ministry of Health has started a drive or a campaign to get specialist nurses who are living in the diaspora to come back to Jamaica, or to go back to Jamaica to work. They're saying they're willing to offer competitive salaries, help with relocation, some allowances and some other things. I'm going to put the flyer in this video. I want to hear from you. If you're living overseas, you're a Jamaican, you're a nursing, a specialist, or just a nurse in general, what would get you to go back to Jamaica to work? What would get you to relocate from wherever you are in the world to go back to Jamaica to work? Maybe you have worked there before, you never worked there yet, but what would get you to go to Jamaica to work? Let me know in the comment section.
Are you a Jamaican specialist nurse living overseas? Well, Dr. Christopher Tufton say, come back home. So the Ministry of Health is asking for A&E trained nurses, theatre nurses, ICU and NICU nurses, neonatologists, nephrology trained nurses, ophthalmology nurses, and mental health specialist nurses to come back home. They are offering an attractive salary, uniform allowance, taxi and meal that we used to get anyway, as well as relocation allowances, and get this, training opportunities. This is my second take at this video. I did one yesterday, but with editing and all of that, I lost a lot of the audio and it just never flowed. I don't know what happened. I hope it will happen with this one. Last year, there was an article about how the new grad nurses in Jamaica could not find jobs. If I can input the clip in, I will, right? And I did a video on it, and I spoke about the fact that the issue is that they have lots of level 2 nurses spaces or specialist nurses spaces, but they don't have many spaces for entry-level nurses or your level 1s. But the problem is, we need to train the level 1s who are in the system so that they can take up the level 2 posts, so that we create spaces for the new grads. And that has been a recurrent problem. Admittedly, it's not an issue that only Jamaica faces, because I'm seeing, similar issues here in England, right? However, when you're going to offer your overseas nurses in the diaspora training opportunities to come back home, why aren't you offering the same training opportunities to your nurses who are already in the system? Let me expound on that a little bit. A lot of us were double trained before we left, so we left as specialist nurses, right? However, we have all gotten some form of training in the more advanced country and more advanced healthcare system that we moved into. A lot of us have started nurse practitioner masters or other postgrad level qualifications just to fit our job role. So what training are you offering us to when we come back to Jamaica that you don't think we're already exposed to or have already started in the first world countries that we live in, that have a lot of resources and better equipment than Jamaica has? And need I mention the fact that we have more advanced duties overseas, and we have learned to do procedures that we're not allowed to do in Jamaica. So make it make sense. Why not offer the training to the nurses who are level 1s, who really, really want to move up, the nurses who have chosen to stay in Jamaica? Because the thing is, nurse migration happening in waves, and as it is now, migration has slowed. The UK has stopped employing overseas nurses. They stopped in 2023. The United States, visas went into retrogression around the same time. So persons who are now leaving from Jamaica to United States have been waiting for years, and there's a backlog. So if you will offer your nurses training, give them the same incentives you are giving us to come back, give them the same incentives to stay. Reiterating, create the training opportunities for your level 1 nurses so that they can take up the gaps or the spaces that you have for level 2 nurses, so that you can hire your new grads, so that your persons are not coming out of university and sitting home for a year waiting for a job. As it relates to us nurses in the diaspora coming home, I had a conversation about this. The date came out in a WhatsApp group that I'm a part of that is all migrant nurses. And yeah, everybody will go home. However, it's not the salary alone that has kept us overseas. Yes, taking up the current salary, on paper it not really look bad, because our entry level for a level 2 is 5 point something mil per year, right? Cost of living, I go eat out all of that, but it's not as bad as it was when we left. However, you have to keep in mind that our current salaries for a lot of us allows us the room, or gives us the opportunity to help to take care of our families back home. right? And build away houses and stuff like that. And we have also migrated with our families. So it's not just us, is our children and our husbands. So we're going to take our children out of school and take them back to Jamaica to send them to prep school that we can't afford, so that they can have access to the same amount of resources that they have in the schools that they're currently enrolled in overseas. And also think about how archaic the Nurses and Midwifery Act is, and how archaic the duties and responsibilities in our job roles are. You're asking us to come back to a system where we struggle to do IVs, or if we do IVs, persons look at us differently, or it is considered a doctor's role. When in our roles now, even if we are not working in specialist roles, we're in our overseas roles, we do not need a doctor's order to do our bloods. We are running our own blood gas if we suspect that our patient is ill. We don't need requests for samples. We take our own samples off. We have the degree of clinical autonomy that we have overseas, we could only dream of in Jamaica. It was only 2024 that the Nurses and Midwifery Act was amended so that nurse practitioners did not need a doctor's practitioner, and in systems where a nurse practitioner can set up his or her own practice, right? We also work in systems where, as a ward nurse, we do advanced skills, or skills that would be considered advanced in Jamaica, right? And these are things you're asking us to give up to move back to a system where we need a doctor's order for bloods, and we need an intern to come and cite an IB access because we're not covered to do it, or we're not allowed to do it in the public sector. We also work in systems where if my patient is getting a blood transfusion, I'm the one going to the blood bank for it. While in some of our public hospitals in Jamaica, nurses are not allowed to commence a blood transfusion. The intern also does that. You know what? There are lots of things in the system that needs to be changed or improved or modernized if you want a nurse, a specialist nurse, to move out of an advanced system to move back into the system, right? I have said all of that to say, invest in fixing the system and invest in the nurses who are already in the system before you try to focus on bringing people back home. Because yes, the salary is not that bad comparatively, or compared to where we have left it, but you're still asking us to move back home for a pay cut, and then on top of that to stagnate our careers that we have invested in growing. You're telling us to come back to work with less resources, have less autonomy, and also have how do I say this nicely? Jesus, I'm trying to be diplomatic here, right? And also be in roles where we are going to be bullied and we're going to be treated a certain way because we're a nurse who returned, right? Because let us face it, that is one of the problems why we left, right? The current system, them say nurses eat their youngs. You need to look into how, oh Lord, I'm trying to be diplomatic here. Let me use an example. When my sister started her midwife degree, she's a direct entry midwife. She worked here in England now too. When she started her midwifery degree, and the matron found out that she was going to school part-time in her own time, she not take time off from work to do it. She's upgrading herself. She was pretty much told that either she choose her course or she choose her job, because how dare she be doing a degree that she never did have signed off. Now, mind you, she's paying for it for herself. She was 2 years in post. Why she needs to get signed off for doing course where she not get sponsored for? Likewise, I worked alongside a young nurse who bawled when she applied for a master's program from an overseas university that was fully funded, and all she needed to do was get a signature and she took it to the matron, just get a signature to say that she is a staff nurse and she's employed. And the matron told her that she does not think that she's ready to do a degree. Those are little things. You have nurses who are in level 1 roles for 10 and 12, 13, 14 years, and they're not being sent off to do courses, and they're not appointed. And that's the system you want us to come back to. 2 years after I migrated to this country, I transitioned into a senior role, right? A specialist role. And I am currently undergoing training for my specialist role that I should have started a long time ago, but I have delayed, right? I was pretty much pushed to go back to school, right? When we in Jamaica ask for training and still don't wait to get training opportunities. And you are telling us to come back. And an incentive is you're going to send us to do training. The same thing that we begged for years before we left. And the same thing you're not giving the nurses who are already in the system. Yeah, make it make sense. My final thought. Invest in the nurses who you have. Retain and stop focused on bringing back. Retain. Focus on retention. Train your nurses so they do not leave. The market out there for migrant nurses has stalled. Everybody are looking to try clamp down on immigration and try reduce the numbers of migrants they have in their countries, right? The United Kingdom is not taking our nurses now. And the United States have slowed down significantly on the amount of nurses they are taking from overseas. Use that as an opportunity to retain the ones you have. The training opportunities you are telling us to come back to, give it to the nurses who are in the system.
So guys, I made a video about being unemployed and why I can't get a job after going to school for 4 years and doing free labor. It's on my Yap TikTok. Please follow it. Put it somewhere. Anyway, today scrolling through my Instagram, I saw a post on the Star saying that Christopher Tufton allegedly said that he wanted nurses from the diaspora to come back to Jamaica. He wants specialized nurses. I'm just making a humble suggestion, Sir Honorable. Why not train the nurses that we have now in the system? Train them, you know, do a little grant, a little scholarship, like something for them. Because some of them want specialized still in there. Some people want specialized. Make them go and specialize, and then that will make way for us new grads who want to go into the mid-surge areas, or fill the gap for them. And then while them going on the system, them specialized area, we just replace them. I mean, honestly, I was never that scream, but when I was like, huh? When I saw the post, I was like, I'm literally here and you grad just done school, can't get no work. I look in my room, you get me, I say, and like see that he wants specialized nurses. And here's the thing, before anybody gonna say, oh, but you can just go specialize. As a nurse, you need experience to go specialize. You can't just get up and say you could go specialize. You need experience. You need clinical experience to go do that. So yeah, but yeah, this is my TED Talk. And if you agree with me, comment. And yeah, look like me just have to go yap. Alright, bye.
So Jamaica has entered the chat once more again in terms of recruitment of overseas nurses, but this time it's diaspora nurses from Jamaica that they're inviting to come back. Now, I got this early this morning that was sent to my inbox and I saw it all over social media. So let's dive into this flyer that I'm seeing right now. So this is from the Ministry of Health and Wellness Jamaica, and it states that they're inviting specialized nurses from the diaspora to come in Jamaica's public health sector to work. Now, the specialized area that they're looking for, we're going to list them out: critical and intensive care, operating theater, oncology, pediatrics and neonatology, accident and emergency, nephrology, renal dialysis, ophthalmology, and mental health. Now, the minimum qualifications that they're looking for is that you must be a registered nurse and you must have training in your specialized area. Now, benefits, that's what we're going to look at. The benefits that they're offering are competitive salary package. I want somebody to apply and tell me what that is. Assistance with relocation. Now, I would appreciate right here if you'd have said relocation package or a relocation bonus. And we want to know, are you going to give this in increments over a period of time? And what is this in JMD or USD? And that also is for the salary package. Now, other things that are listed as benefits include uniform, meal allowance, and taxi allowance. And we're going to stick a pin right here. You see that taxi allowance thing there, you're not going to take that out. Take out taxi allowance. You know what I'm going to put in? Put in vehicle concession. So you see, when any of the diaspora nurses them come back, all of the different car dealerships that are there, if you partner with them, when the nurses come back, they can get the vehicles at reduced prices. And we're not talking like 5% and 10% now, we know. That could have worked. And you know the next thing we could have put in? Housing allowance. Yeah, man. Go talk to NHT and tell them, say, no, man, we can't give them a look of 5 mil and 8 mil. Give them a look of 20 mil. I think that could have worked. And they also listed training opportunities. Now, my nurses in the diaspora, we are the ones that are on the ground and we know what it's like to be working in the health sector back home in Jamaica and also overseas. What are your thoughts? Jump into the comment section. Let's give them the feedback. Take your time now. Nobody stampede. Put on a seatbelt. And one more thing, I want to ask about the new grads. Any opportunities for them? Couldn't some of the new grads be matriculated into these specialized areas and we give them on-the-job training? What are your thoughts? What do you guys think? See you guys in the comment section.
That their value in this government has eroded. The civil servants who were once, you remember when you said you were a civil servant years ago, it is like you did all a particular prestige in this country. You remember how soldiers and police used to hold a particular prestige in this country? With value. Honor them, Jamaica. Yes, if I could do more for my staff. When a company grows, Courtney, the value of your staff must grow. So 3 years down the line, if PD group reaches another tier, the staff must reach that tier as well. You can't say the government better off I have that in a net international reserve and this and that and reality. How when you look, nurse a thumb like papa, nurse a walk a sell back juice per ward, nurse a sell sweetie and crackers when they must attend to what? Patients. So you think the people are going to come back when you the gear woman $80 million for the Benz Punani? You think the people are going to come back when them say Carnival Regional billions of dollars spend and they still not get a better place? Imagine. It's not a matter of just a better salary. Think about it. The working conditions that the people have to be working in are deplorable. And FEMA woman alone get $80 million. And people are suffer. 80 million for Benz Punani. And people are suffering in this land. Them too fucking wicked Jamaica. Them too damn wicked Jamaica. Them too fucking wicked. And them panta take a look. Pan here say what? Return. Return to do what? Return to be a papa and a beggar, Christopher. Return to be a papa and a beggar when your woman, your concubine, will mash up you and Nadine Tufton relationship.
Nadine. Hush. Them nurse now come back.
So you only value the Benz Punani and your friend up a you way. When mash up the governor general and can't make a GG work properly. But enough for you now, Christopher. I said poking, I never said nothing else, Natalie.
So let's talk numbers. Because numbers don't care about feelings. In America, a specialist nurse earns anywhere between 81,000 to 129,000 United States dollars a year. Let me repeat it again. 81,000 to 129,000 United States dollars annually. When you convert that to Jamaica money, right? At the lower end, that's 13 million Jamaican dollars. And at the upper end, that's 21 million. This particular statement wasn't made in a vacuum. It was made in a country where nurses are overworked, where facilities are under-equipped, where nursing shifts are dangerously understaffed. Wages are nowhere near livable. And instead of acknowledging that reality, the message was essentially from the minister, if you are complaining, you are the problem. And to my mind, that moment mattered. And I suspect that nurses have not forgotten it.
Great morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. I hope everyone's having a wonderful Sunday. Yesterday, I made a video about what could the Jamaican government do to make nurses in the diaspora come back home to work. And somebody in the comments, I didn't tag the person because they're a user number, whatever, said, because I said I work only 3 days a week. And I think a colleague of mine also said he only works 3 days a week, mandatorily, was trying to dispute the fact that we legitimately work 3 days a week. I remember one of my goals when I decided to leave Jamaica to come here to the US, I said to myself, both in my mind, in my heart, said it out loud, wrote it down. I will never suffer. I will never suffer. And my life that I have in Jamaica is going to look better here in the US. Now, while suffering looks different for everybody, I also had to make sacrifices so that my life looks the way I want it to look now, 9 years ago. And I can make a separate video if y'all want to know some of the sacrifices that I made that are not necessarily traditionally done by immigrants, but that I had to do that for me. And so when I say that I only work 3 days a week, the only time I put in overtime is not to support my lifestyle, is not to pay bills. I only work more than 3 days a week if I need to go on vacation, if my birthday is coming up, or I want to make a huge purchase, because a girl like me hates a payment plan. That's the quickest turn off. I hate a payment plan. Me not like pay every month to something. Okay? So that's the only time I work more than 4 days a week. More than 3 days a week. Otherwise, my lifestyle, my everyday living is supported on a 3-day work week. That's all. That's all I gotta say. Let me know in the comments if you are a nurse who also works 3 days a week, or if you have to mandatorily work more than 3 days a week. Bye guys.
So today's video is going to be addressing our Jamaican nurses, because I know a lot of persons have been inboxing me saying that, hey Stacey, I've graduated and it's this amount of time, I still haven't gotten a job, passed the exam, still waiting for a job. And the one question that a lot of persons are asking is, how is it Jamaica is short of nurses but them can't get a job? So we're going to talk a little bit about it, because why is it that the new graduates are in Jamaica waiting for months, not without a job? Sometimes, they're waiting years before they even get employed. So just going to touch on that a little bit, and from there. And the thing about it is that it's not because they're lazy, it's not because they're lazy, it's not because they didn't study hard enough, and definitely not because nursing is not needing a nurse, right? No, it's none of those. So if you are one of those nurses out there and you're thinking that, then I want you to just erase that out of your mind, and we're just going to talk a little bit more about some of the reasons why you're not getting a job at this time. So if you're new here, my name is Stacey, and I want to say thank you so much for tuning in to the Think Nursing page, where we talk about, being a registered nurse, an international nurse, and everything that relates to nursing. So go ahead and make sure you subscribe to my page here. I really do appreciate you taking the time out to do that. And make sure you turn the notification bell on as well. TikTok page, the same handle, Think Nursing. So one of the biggest frustrations that a lot of new grads have is this. Everywhere you turn in Jamaica, you hear that nursing shortage. Everywhere you turn in Jamaica is that they have a nursing shortage. The hospitals are overwhelmed, nurses are burnt out, and patients are having this long wait time. And it has nothing to do with the recent Hurricane Melissa. Naturally, when you're in, nursing school, or you're entering nursing, you think that once you graduate, you're surely going to be walking into a job afterwards. And that's where the confusion starts, because the truth is that even though you have a shortage problem for nurses, it does not automatically mean that they're hiring. It doesn't mean that hiring is happening automatically. And in Jamaica's public health system, let's just look at that. You can't just hire a nurse because there is a need. There has to be an approved post. You have to have, the government allocating money for that. And then there must be some authorization from the regional health authority. So if there is no approved post on paper, even if, the ward is struggling, the nurses are burnt out, they're leaving, they legally cannot hire. And that is just one of the biggest problems there. So what happens is that you have new graduates who are licensed, they're qualified, they're waiting. But what? They're still waiting. They're still waiting for a job. Another big issue is the budget. Yes, you always hear that the budget is this and the budget is that, and the government don't have enough money to pay nurses. Yes, remember the government hospitals, they rely on annual budgets. And if these nursing posts are not approved in that budget year, what happens is that you have hiring freeze. So you'll hear people saying, or companies saying, we'll call you back. You're on a wait list. The wait list is going to be a little bit longer, or the wait time is going to be a little bit longer just because of that freeze. And the little longer can last from anywhere between like 6 months to 1 year to years for some persons. And the painful part about it is that you can be waiting while nurses are leaving the system due to burnout or migration. Because every time you look on the news, you hear about, persons leaving the hospital. And that's not your fault. It's a system problem, and it's not a student problem either. So the other thing about it is that a lot of hospitals are looking for,
persons that are experienced and also specialized. So if you're ICU nurse, theater nurse, dialysis, you know, any specialized area, a lot of times they will prefer to choose those persons over a new grad who has like general registered nursing experience. And not only that, you don't really have much experience either. You don't have any experience, let's just say it. So some facilities rather hire experience, or they rehire those experienced nurses. They'll bring back retired nurses, or they will hold out on the specialists that they have. And what happens for the new grads is that they're going to be told that they don't have any experience. But how do you as a new grad gain experience if nobody is giving you the chance to start working and become competent and get the experience to get into a job? That is the one thing that a lot of times I ask myself. When I was starting out nursing, I was saying the same thing. But luckily for me, I never waited that much of a long time. I never waited years before I got a job. Another factor is that a lot of persons don't talk about this because everybody wants to work in the uptown area. Nobody wants to work in the rural area because housing is limited, transportation is difficult, the pay cost doesn't match the cost of living. Support systems are a little bit weaker in the rural area. So graduates tend to mainly apply to like Kingston, Montego Bay, St. Andrew, all of those popular areas. And what happens is you have overcrowding of applicants in some hospitals and shortages in others. And it's not because nurses don't want to work, but because everybody is looking for, you know, better working condition. And that's just it. So let me just talk about, you know, after graduating, because waiting after graduation is usually emotionally draining. A lot of times we start questioning whether or not we choose the wrong career. Was the studying even worth it? Or am I failing or falling behind because we're not getting a job to start, you know, life? Some of us are at home, you know, with no income. You have persons who are doing some unrelated jobs to nursing. Some persons are just feeling embarrassed. You understand? Some of them are just discouraged because of the wait time. And I want you to know that it has nothing to do with you failing. Waiting doesn't mean that you're failing. Waiting doesn't mean that you're not good enough. It means that the system is slow and you're just caught in at that time. And that's just simply it. So what can you as a nurse do here? Because I don't want it to be a case where you're watching my video and you're feeling hopeless. I don't want that. I want it to be a case where after you finish watching this video, you can feel a little bit more comfort. You can feel a little bit more hopeful, you know, in terms of you getting a job or advancing yourself later on. So while you're waiting, I want you to go ahead and make sure that you keep your license active. You don't want to be a case where when you get a job, you hear that your license is inactive. Get your license current. Apply for public and private clinics. Go and apply to some nursing home. If there's any group home available, apply there as well. Volunteer as well. Even though it's short term, it can build on your confidence and it also helps with you getting reference. And then the other thing I wanted to start thinking about is, you know, what you can do. If you plan to go overseas, start studying. If you plan to migrate, research on different pathways. Save for your future opportunities. If you're working, it might not be much, but go ahead and start saving. And yes, Jamaicans are thriving overseas. Might not be like, you know, huge, but yes, we're surviving. So go ahead and try to seek out ways that you can as well. Don't let this waiting period break you. Stay connected, stay hopeful, and just stay informed as it relates to nursing and everything else that is happening. Subscribe to my YouTube page, I Think Nursing, and be a part of the family. Invite other persons over there to just be in the know and just get up-to-date information as we go along. So if you're a nurse and you're watching this, remember that you are needed. Your time is coming. You are valuable. You understand? And even if it doesn't look like it right now, just tell yourself that you are needed. Jamaica didn't prepare you or train you for nothing. And this delay in life is not defining your future in nursing. No. Some persons have been out of a job for a long time, and I tell you that they've become very, very successful. So I hope this video helps with making you not feeling so less alone, helps you with feeling more seen, and just know that, yes, there is hope out there. One thing I want to know is if you're a new grad, go ahead and drop it in the comment box below if you're waiting and if you've been through the process already. And just remember, keep on growing. You understand, when it's time to nurse, keep on nursing, doing the right thing, advocate for persons and your patient, and most importantly, make sure you take care of yourself. All right. Until then, I want to say thank you so much for tuning in to Think Nursing, where it's a space where we talk about nursing, travel, and lifestyle as an international nurse, and just everything that has to do with nursing. Until then, I will see you in the next video. Bye.
Hi, good morning, everybody. So, I'm here to make a comment on a video that I saw that has been going around since this morning. I wake up and I saw it, and I was a bit disappointed because I had an encounter with that gentleman yesterday. Now, for the persons who don't understand what is going on at Mandy Regional Hospital, we're under a serious crisis. We all know that the country went through a serious devastation with the western parishes, and when that happens, even the Black River Hospital was damaged. So those patients down in Black River are now going to come to Mandy Regional Hospital. That is where we have a large number of patients now in the hospital that we have to be caring for. We have patients coming all the way from Westmoreland, Trelawney, and that is going to put pressure on us. So there is a crisis. So for the persons who are coming and expecting that, oh, as you come, you're going to get through, that is not the reality at the hospital. So when you took out your phone and decided to make a video to show up the nurses who are there, some of them are there from about 16 hours, trying to make sure that care is being given to patients. So when you do that now, you're not just saying that, oh, you're basically saying that we are not doing anything. And I'm happy that the video that you posted, it is obvious that the nurses are very busy. You understand? I do understand that, yes, you are going to be upset because they're not getting through, and it seems as if you wait how long and nobody now come to you and stuff. You see, when you have a stitches, once the doctors are free up, they will come to you. But once the doctors have patients who need immediate attention, they are going to attend to those patients, and that will allow you to wait a little longer. You understand? Me wouldn't want you get through early too. Me wouldn't want you get through quickly. And like so we want patients to be there the entire time with us. We want to get through and go home. But that is not the reality at the hospital, and you have to understand why you never video and show the people them since as you're doing entertainment. Show the people them how the hospital stay. How many patients are there? Patients sitting down on chairs, wheelchair. We want to help them and we can't help them because what? The ratio between the ratio patient nurse ratio is actually like a 1 to a 10 patient. You understand? And the 1 and 2 doctors that were there working yesterday, me have to be going up because me I tell you say they were under a lot of pressure. They have to stop, go do suture. They have to stop, go do dressing. Certain things they have to stop and go do. We have to be behind them and support them and everything that we can. We have patients who are admitted, we have to go up on the ward and we don't have no bed space to put them on the ward. It is just the reality of the situation. So when people come at the hospital making videos so that it seems as if we're not doing anything, I will not tolerate that. You see me, I am a nurse and I love my profession. Me love my profession. And you see, if me say somebody come attack my profession, trust me, I'm going to speak about it. You understand? But you're making it seem as if we're not there for you. Nurses don't give stitches. The doctors do. And the doctors had their hands so full yesterday. I even tried and talked to a doctor to see if he can assist you. And the doctor, to hold the doctor hand full, me have to say, all right, that do what you have to do. You understand? So it's not like so we just make you stay out there, so sit down and not being attended to. You have to understand certain things. It is what it is. You understand? Nurses, some of the time we all sacrifice for break time just to help some of you people. I mean, never yet see nobody come out and make a video and say, boy, big up nurse so and so, or boy, me not tell no lie, nurse I'm under pressure, but boy, them a do them thing. Never. It's always negative. Negative, 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 negative. When you try your best as a negative come on a post it just like that, and I don't like that. You understand? But at the end of the day, we are still caring for our patients regardless, because that now go phase we are stop we from care for the patients them. You understand? That now go stop we. We still love our patients them regardless. We assist them same way. So it is what it is. So for persons who are coming to the Mandy Regional Hospital, don't expect that you're going to get through right away. The situation at Mandy Regional Hospital right now is a crisis. It is just a crisis. You're going to have some time to wait. And it is just the reality.
Thank you, my good people, for listening to the videos that we're going to react on. Guys, in this video, the Jamaican government, as you can clearly hear, they want Jamaican nurses who are working abroad to come back home, and they not only want them to come back just like that, they are going to offer them incentive, they are going to offer them competitive salaries, and they're asking them that you are the pillar of our health system, our health care, the economy, and national development at the same time. So at this particular moment, it tells us that there is a severe nurse shortage in Jamaica. And if you talk about training nurses, it's very expensive. But at the end of the day, these nurses, they live for better pay and working conditions in other countries, developed countries, of course, like the United Kingdom, the United States of America, Canada, name them. And, a huge number of them train in Jamaica, but after they complete school or they graduate, they end up not getting jobs. So whatever they learned in school, they're taking them to another country. And of course, that will leave public hospitals to be understaffed, that is in Jamaica. And when hospitals are understaffed, it means that we will have long waiting times if you want to see a doctor, a pediatrician. It will mean that the local nurses will be overworked, and also it will cause something very bad, that is reducing the quality of patient care, because it's not going to be possible for nurses to have quality time for you, to have quality care. And the government just thought of telling the Jamaican nurses abroad, kindly come back home, we really really need you. As much as it's very expensive to train nurses and they later on leave, they migrate to other countries, I will say at the end of the day, of course, Jamaica will lose. The government, they invest in education, in their education, that is training and everything. They equip skills, and all these skills, they are not going to be productive in our beautiful island of Jamaica. We will have these foreign agencies that are recruiting nurses, and then making them leave the country, and the beautiful island of Jamaica ends up losing. So the government has thought it wise to tell them to come back, because at this point they want to improve patient care and save more lives. In this case, I will tell you, more nurses mean that there will be better monitoring of each and every patient in Jamaica. It will mean that there is going to be a better response when it comes to emergencies. Remember that third world countries are so bad with responding to emergencies, any kind of emergency actually. And also it's going to reduce burnout, that is now among those that are already in the system. But another question that I ask myself is, late as last year, we still had Jamaican nurses who are complaining about being overworked. They were complaining about this, staying in shifts for so long. They were complaining about under-equipped hospitals. I mean, it's crazy. As you all know, healthcare is a very, very important docket in each and every government. And they run both the rural and the city services. And when all these hospitals, when they lack nurses, then it means that people will suffer, especially the vulnerable communities. They are going to suffer. It will mean that there will be inequality between the public and the private services, because that will mean that the public one will reduce, the private one is going to be, the care is going to kind of become quality and increase. So those nurses that went abroad and worked there, they have already gained advanced clinical skills. They have something that we call exposure, and I believe when they come back home, they will raise the standards high, they will raise the bar high, and of course help also to train the younger nurses in Jamaica. And it's going to help the country also because it's going to reduce dependency on foreign systems. So when Jamaica exports nurses, richer countries will benefit in this case. So at this point, the government wants to retain their talent. They want to build a strong, self-sufficient health system. And that is a very awesome and great initiative. I hope the Jamaican nurses abroad are seeing these particular things, and they'll be able to go back home. So events like pandemic, natural disasters, disease outbreaks, all these, they normally show us the need for a strong local healthcare system. Jamaica at this point, it can not just depend on overseas during a crisis. They have to prepare and plan also. So I don't know if you now get the gist as to why Jamaica needs the Jamaican nurses abroad back home. It's because the hospitals are understaffed. The country is losing skilled, super skilled talent. The healthcare quality is going down, drastically going down. And they believe that if they manage to convince the nurses abroad to come back home, it's going to strengthen the health system of the country. Thank you so much. If you watched up to this point, kindly subscribe. I feel so sleepy.